Dear friends, so it will be talk 12 of wisdom training. We will talk about perceptions. Perhaps earlier I sort of jumped the gun. We should talk first more about perception in a kind of gentle environment, and then what I was talking about, going for a walk, etc., and perceiving. First, a little bit background about perceptions. It is essentially, for all life form, the key element in their existence. Even the simplest form of life, like for example bacteria or some other, they have a sense of touch and some form of sense of taste. Of course, it is not the touch as we have, which is transmitted by the nervous system, or a sense of taste where we taste it through the tongue and our part of our mouth, and we taste some molecular things which agitate our nervous system, and brain makes it this and that. They already had it, because otherwise they wouldn't know what to eat, and they will go completely mindlessly, so to speak. Well, they have some sort of mind into, for example, hot area where they could be burned. They knew to avoid it. Well, our perceptions are incredibly developed. Some are more developed than others. For example, dogs has far much better smell, and how they are called? The flying mouse, I forgot their proper name. They have incredible sense of hearing, because they don't see, they are blind, but they see, create the world, on the 3D world, on the base of their sound waves. They emit sound, and the sounds reflects and return. We usually see, also we see reflections, or we see a direct source of light. Like when looking at sun, we see the direct source of light. When we look at the moon, it is already a reflection. And when you look at me, it's a very complicated process. Light comes to me, goes to the camera sends it to computer, to the belly of the computer, which processes it and displays on the screen, and then you could see me. So the perceptions are very complicated, and unfortunately we know not too much, scientifically, about the mechanism, what mind, what brain and nervous system is doing with our perception, but somehow we created, the whole world is created by our perceptions. Probably if we didn't have the sight, and we will be like the flying mouse, no, doesn't matter. I know how they are called in Polish, nietoperze, but how they are called in English, I forgot. Okay, we will have completely different physics, different mathematics, and different everything. Because essentially, we think that physics discovers this apparatus, this. Eventually, it's all created because of our perceptions. Okay, so that much background. I just wanted to impress on you how important are our perceptions. And we now I'm talking about human being, you, me, and others, we perceive through our perceptual organs, and we also perceive by something which science doesn't quite want to talk about because doesn't know about, beyond the nervous system. There is, cells communicate, they perceive the signals which they got. Anyway, we perceive, let's be simple, through our perception, and perceptions are from outside of our body and from inside of our body. And we perceive non-stop, constantly. There is billion of maybe trillion a second of micro-perception which happens. And we can't stop them. When we dream, we perceive. Well, when we are dead, our body doesn't perceive because it falls, dissolves. But as long as we are alive, we do perceive. Since we are born till we die, we perceive. So now, what to do with what it has to do with resting of our mind, which is core of the wisdom training? Well, we perceive, and we actually, generally, without training, we focus on something and more or less ignore everything else. It is kind of a background thing, but we do it completely unconsciously, we continually focus. When we arrest our mind, we simply perceive everything without particularly focusing on anything. Or we could say we focus on everything. It's not that we block and we sit like, we perceive. And the whole thing that we rest our mind